Okay, people, I'm going to talk about renting and buying. So I've just noticed an article from the Age newspaper, and it said some of the regional towns have put the rent up by nearly 29%. Those ones are near Bandora in the metro area, most of the Yarra Valley. And I looked up St Arnaud. So I went out there 2 weeks ago where my family had been living for 100 years. And they've now put the rent up 12.5% in St Arnaud because they said the actual rental market is only getting 4 to 5 people applying at the moment in the last quarter. And they said back in the COVID days, they could have 200 people. And it said it's got nothing to do with the COVID era. They just said the people trying to rent out there is actually reducing. But they said the people who are moving out there are just moving out there for 6 months before they start looking to buy a house there or actually start building. And that's exactly what me and my wife have talked about. If we want to move to a country town, we'll rent a house for 6 months. And if we like the community, we can actually buy a house after 6 months if we like the town. So just let me know which regional areas you think I should go to. If you've looked at my 30 years of renting, there was nearly 1,000 comments on there, and a lot of people said, how about you buy a house in Ballarat? So we went out to Ballarat 2 weeks ago, and Soldiers Hill is quite expensive. But Winduri is quite expensive. So where is the actual cheapest part of Ballarat to actually go and to rent or buy a house? So I can't actually find anything cheap out there. And it does have a bit of a crime scene out in some of those suburbs there. We went to Clunes, and Clunes is absolutely beautiful. It looks like the Wild West. Could easily make a nice old conflict movie out there. But Clunes, we found some nice houses out there that they wanted nearly $600,000 or $700,000 to buy. But our budget for a house when we retire will be somewhere around $500,000 to $600,000. And we're hoping, with the interest rates going up, that the house prices will slow down a bit out there so that we can catch up. I checked my superannuation today. If my 2 superannuation accounts have now hit $578,000, so I've still got 6 years until I need to actually start buying a house out there, but they're getting closer to $700K. And then I looked at how much I'm getting in interest rates on the superannuation. One of them sitting on about 11%, now one's sitting on 10.5%. And then when I read the article on the Age, it said St Arnaud is putting the rents up this quarter by 12.5% because they're only getting 4 or 5 applications. So the landlords are trying to make sure that they secure a tenant who can pay them what the future tax costs are going to be. Is how they explained it. In other words, we're not paying their mortgage now, we're paying their tax bill. On a house that's valued at under $200,000, you're paying $1,600 to $2,000 a month on a fibro house. We're not talking brick tile or anything like that, we're talking fibro. Which is interesting, considering I've rented fibro homes before and paid less than $400 a month. But once again, tell me in the comments, whereabouts in region Victoria should I start driving this lovely new car to? I am going to Bright on Friday or Saturday this week, and we're going to have a look around Seymour. I heard Castlemaine has actually gone up about 20% on their rents there too, because they can drive or get on a V-line train. what towns. And I've never really gone past Sale, and Gippsland have only been to Sale once, so we don't know Gippsland at all. But apparently Gippsland's getting a bit expensive out there as well. Haven't gone to it, the Latrobe Valley or anywhere like that. And I have looked at Portland about 15 years ago. But we went out to Warrnambool the other week. And Warrnambool was okay. I liked it. My wife didn't actually like the town. It did seem it would have been too many feral kids running around that it felt a lot like living in Werribee. It just seems a bit of crime out in that town. And do you have a list of what you think you need to have in a town? Our list that I kept thinking about is a nice shop to actually buy food, have a hospital, and a nice little community around 3,000 people west. And I'll be volunteering for a few things like the CFA or bench sheds and stuff like that. I always do want to volunteer with you.
The other thing with buying is the house price difference. Each town that I've looked at in the last 2 weeks, you've had two types of sellers in the town. Locals trying to sell a house. The people from the city who have moved back to the city after COVID, who have added an extra 100,000 on the median price of the house in those places. Now, if I look at the $365,000 house in St Arnaud, I'll just pop photos up in the corner and I'll put all these little houses down in the description so you can go and look at them on the real estate page. St Arnaud had one for $365. Clunes had a similar house that was slightly bigger for about the same price. Like, it was in much better condition in Clunes for about $400K. And our budget is around $500K. But a lot of the really renovated homes in Clunes are $700,000. The land in Clunes is around $100,000 to $120 to $200K. The land at St Arnaud is around $70 to $75K. And believe it or not, in Warracknabeal, there's a rather small block of 200 square metres, which is small, but you can put a townhouse on that for $20,000. And there is a lot of land under $100,000 in Warracknabeal. So that does make it a lot cheaper to build a fibro home out there. And that's what my wife said to me a message. So, should we build or should we buy? And we're talking in 6 years. So if you've got a crystal ball, what would be better? Because land doesn't seem to be going up anywhere near the same amount as homes, because homes are giving these people a chance to quickly put them out as investment properties, and then they're putting the rent up, as you know, by $100 a month without fixing anything. I'll put some photos up in the corner of some of the houses we've found that are rentals, and you'll see what the actual condition of some of these rental houses are in regional Victoria. I'll just put them in the corner, so people don't like me putting the overlay on driving. And let me know in the comments, after I've done this bright road trip, should I drive to Canberra and have a look around the Riverina, like Wagga and Forest Hill and all those areas up there between Albury and Wagga? Or should I take a nice long drive out through Gippsland and go past Sale and see what's available past Sale? I don't know what's past Sale. You can tell me in the comments. Which is better? When I was in the Air Force, I spent nearly 2 years living in Wagga and the Riverina. And I like how the Riverina has got a bit of a AFL addiction out there as well. They got a lot of AFL football teams out there, so that's nice. I know what winter and summer's like, and so trucks I don't think allowed the right hand way, but hey, let's not get started. We're now in the 100 zone. And of course, we built the West Gate Tunnel to get trucks away, didn't we? Okay.
That's politics. We won't get into that.
So yeah, which direction, or even if I move out of Victoria, now he's getting out of the right-hand lane. You know what? Hey, come here. Should I move out of Victoria? Is there a cheaper state? So the cruise control. And I'll get back to focusing on driving because this has gone about 10 minutes. Oh, I wanted some comments this week on where I should start actually investigating. Because you guys have been helping me a lot. I've got 1,000 subscribers who are helping me a lot. So thank you to everybody who's been subscribing, and thank you to everybody who's been commenting on my videos. You all give me a lot of help. And I will start investigating all these regional towns you've been mentioning in my comments over the last 2 months. And keep putting some suggestions in this video as well as where else I should look. If you've been to Collec's going up in price a little bit too because it's close to Geelong, but there's a few places around Collec that are just past it that are still quite cheap as well. But there's a lot of potholes out there too. And that's another stipulation. I don't want potholes. If you saw how those 25 cars got their tyres ripped going out towards the Gippsland 2 weeks ago. Anyway, stay safe, people. That'll do me for today. I'll put up a video later in the week, which may or may not interest you, but it's really one of the key points I have for regional Victoria, and you could do this in metropolitan Melbourne, and you could do it in Tasmania, you could do it in West Australia, are weekend markets. And I'm not necessarily talking about thrift shop style markets, but ones where local growers can sell food to you. And I've noticed with a lot of my friends at work, how few of them actually know how, these are people that are 20 years younger than me, how few of them actually know about vegetables that you can freeze. Most of your veggies you can freeze. So you can go to a weekend market on a Saturday or Sunday, which might only be like Avoca. We went to Avoca and their weekend market's only once a month, but the next town after that was the following weekend. But you can actually buy some vegetables and you can freeze it. Or you can buy some fruit, and it's quite easy to make jam, and it's quite easy to reserve food. As I did say about to Danny chats a couple of weeks ago, which was having trouble buying food, I said, well, it's quite easy to make really cheap butter. If you've ever made a mistake whipping cream, you will know exactly how to make butter. And we used to make our own butter at Tassie because we could make 250 grams of butter for $1, and I could still make 250 grams of butter, garlic butter, for under $2.50. Anyway, stay safe. I won't get into cooking because you'll all start telling me this is not a cooking channel. And I will talk to you in a few days about markets. So do some research. Ciao, people.